Welcome to another Creative Spin podcast, place where we share as much information as we can. We try to dive into the creative side of things, thus the name Spin of the creativeness. No.
Isn't the creativity?
What? No, yeah. It's totally wrong. Creative Spin podcast. Come on, Anna. Work with me.
Hey, listen. Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who are just listening and not watching us on YouTube, first of all, what the heck are you doing? You have to check us out. I'm here with the beautiful.
Oh.
I'm trying to get lunch.
I was actually going to say, what do you want?
Anna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Always?
Always a pleasure.
Great. Love having you here. I it's great to have somebody to pick on.
You don't say.
Listen, a guy has to, have a podcast and have somebody to pick on.
Yeah, look, hey.
We were just talking about actually me doing a podcast on my own, and you know what? I just I think I can.
You are able to, you have that capacity to make
fun
of yourself,
right?
and yeah.
Fun of myself? No.
Yeah, like
listen,
that.
No.
Yeah.
Let's not go that far. But yeah, I think it would be an interesting. Colin, I think one day we're gonna have to do that experiment and see how I do with. Being by myself.
You're gonna pick on yourself as well.
And I'm gonna make fun of myself, pick on myself, and do all the stuff I usually do with my guests.
This promises
to
be a good one.
Oh, it's amazing. Now, actually, I wanted to kind of make a note. I know we're putting it on the video so that people understand what the difference is between the audio podcast and the video podcast that resides on YouTube. Basically and essentially, what we do is we take the full audio, so the whole damn thing, and we place that on iTunes and all of the other places like Spotify and iHeartRadio and all those places that we have our podcast. So that's where the full podcast is. So if you're listening to us, you're actually getting the whole podcast. If you're just watching us, you're getting the highlights. So basically, we try to grab the best parts of the full audio experience, and we just grab like a 10 to 15 minute
tease you, right?
Just like a little tease. The nicer parts, I guess, of, well, yeah, kind of, sort of. We tried, Anyways, let's go into our topic today. I think this is going to be an interesting one. I'm not quite sure when this episode is going to be coming out, but essentially what we're going to be tackling is the partial social media blackout that we had on July 3rd. Which basically we had Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp that were kind of
shut down.
I would say like you couldn't really get to all the functions and do. Okay. Let's just be realistic. So I want to dig into this because it was interesting to see some of the reactions online, especially on Twitter because it was working. So a lot of the people were actually complaining, and some were mad.
Some people get nasty.
It's like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? It's not working. Instagram is, how am I going to have lunch and not take a picture of my lunch? It was terrible. People were it was, yeah. So we're going to tackle that. But we're actually going to, I want to dig into a little bit of more of the serious part as well. Obviously, we'll always have a little bit of fun, but the serious part is going to be digging into the addiction part of social media, probably even digging in a little bit into the mental health. So let's throw in the intro, and we'll be right back to tackle all these marvelous things. Today's podcast is brought to you by Workplace One, a company offering boutique private offices, co-working spaces, virtual office solutions, and meeting rooms. Amazing spaces in the best neighborhoods in Toronto and Kitchener-Waterloo. Ideal for entrepreneurs, companies, and passionate business people. These spaces provide a stimulating environment to build, network, and drive business. With 5 different locations in Toronto and 1 in Kitchener, Workplace One is definitely where you want to be with your business. For more information, just jump over to their website at workplaceone.com. All right. So as I was saying on the intro, we're going to be talking about what happened with Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, basically anything to do with Facebook. They own all of these
exactly
apps.
what happened, like what caused that issue?
I was actually trying to find out exactly what happened, but obviously they didn't get into the details of what was happening.
Of course.
All we know is that, they weren't working. So Facebook was out, Instagram, WhatsApp as well. They were still, if you went into the websites or into the apps, they would still be kind of working, but
you could see the written portion on Facebook. You could see the written portion of things, not the pictures.
Were you looking at my notes? Because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Oh, sorry, I was not. But see, I'm that brilliant.
I'm trying to get this thing getting ready for it. And what does she do? She just jumps in. So let's talk about that.
I'm brilliant. You see?
Absolutely. Jeez, Colin. We should have a meeting before. Let's make note of this. We should have a meeting before the podcast. We do have a lot of meetings, but not today. So yeah, okay. Let's start with that then, since you brought it up. The interesting part is that part of the issue was that pictures weren't showing up, videos weren't showing up, and all of that. You couldn't really post anything. And but on the flip side of that, we were able to see, so instead of the actual image, you would see a gray box, and it would actually show the tags of how Facebook, in this case, I don't think you could see that on Instagram, but on Facebook, you could actually see how they describe a picture. So this is the automated system.
I didn't see.
Yeah. So the automated system of Facebook, I guess, or the little bots. I always like to think that they're these little mechanical creatures that run around in the Facebook office, like little minions. And what they do is they look at this image and they type in things like, and I grabbed the screen capture just so that I could have, it says night, sky, and outdoor. Another one says...
Are they like tags or something?
Exactly. So they basically coming out with the description of what they think is on that picture.
Okay.
And, it's quite interesting to see how that works. Another image here says flower. So it actually starts by saying image may contain, and then it has what it may contain. Tree, sky, outdoor, and nature. So it's really, really interesting how the technology can actually look at an image and kind of decipher what's there. Obviously, I'm going to guess that in a lot of these cases, it might be kind of right, but it might be very wrong as well, which is interesting to me in regards, because, we do a lot of the stuff for ourselves and for our clients in regards to tagging the images properly. And this is kind of like a little bit of an eye-opener to those people who think that that's not important. That it is important. That's how, when you're searching for something, it's going to search for all of these tags, and that's how your pictures are going to come up. Searching for this topic for today, I found an infographic that it was kind of interesting. And obviously the numbers that are here, I don't know if they're 100% or not. There might be a little bit different at this point. But one of the things is, on average, people spend 135 minutes a day on social media, which is just over 2 hours, right?
That's crazy.
One of the things that that actually brought this reality to people was when Apple came up with that tracker that actually tells you how long you spend.
I love it.
On these apps. And that, I think that's where people started going, holy cow. Yeah. I have never realized how long I spent on these apps. But now one of the other things that this infographic has that I found interesting is how it is actually considered an addiction, because they're actually saying it's more addictive than cigarettes and alcohol.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so apparently it triggers dopamine. How do you say that? Dopamine. Okay, there you go. Hey, listen, we're all learning here. But it triggers that chemical in your brain, which is basically, it says here, it's the chemical that creates the feeling of pleasure and things that you want. And that's directly related to addiction, right? And that is quite astonishing. When people start thinking about this, I think they might start letting go of their phone a little bit, or they can't, really.
Well, when you are at that point, the question is, can you really let go?
Exactly.
I think that's why people were panicking when Facebook went down and Instagram went down. You know what I mean? Like it.
And I would think that these people that are addicted, they don't even realize they're addicted. That's the first problem, right? They don't think it's an addiction because we perceive addictions to being things that we take in.
Yeah.
Like
That's the
we
case with
have a
addictions,
cigarette, we take,
Yeah.
we
I'm
drink
in
the
control.
alcohol.
I'm in control.
With this, it's a little bit different, right? What is an influencer? I get what it is. It's people who can influence other people. I
Can
get
they?
that. Now, what I feel is that it's become now a thing that everybody thinks that they can be. Everybody now is an influencer. It's not become a job position. People are, I'm an influencer, right? And who are you influencing, and what are you influencing people with? Are you an expert in everything that you post on Instagram? Are you a cooking expert when you're influencing people to buy that burger that you just got? It's kind of weird, right? I think we've come down to a point of weirdness when it comes to influencers. And on the other side of it is what happens to these influencers if there's a blackout that lasts for not only one day like this case, but oh geez, look what happens if this goes blackout for a month.
It could happen.
It could happen. And with that, a lot of these the influencers out there, I think they're missing the point. You need to have a business plan. If you want to make that your job, great, go for it. But make sure that you understand how the market works, how the business aspect of things work, because you're working based on something that is not yours. You don't own Instagram. You don't own Facebook. You don't own any of these platforms. If they change up the rules, if they decide to close shop, because they could, it would be a bad decision from their business perspective, but they could. Or they could make things difficult. I mean, we've seen it time and time again when they change the algorithm of these things.
Oh yeah,
boom,
for sure.
Things change around. YouTube. I mean, there's been a roller coaster of YouTube issues in the last year that is just been insane. And the reason that I think a lot of people get upset is because they were relying on these platforms to be their source of income, and that's it. They're not working on thinking about, I can use this platform to help me with my other side of the business or have other things going on. And I guess coming from an old man, I'm just going to advise, if you are an influencer, great. Figure out a second source of income as well. These are not yours. These platforms are not yours. And you got to be careful with this stuff. Listen, look at us. I mean, we help a lot of our clients with social media. Honestly, if Facebook, Instagram, if all of these platforms went belly up, I'm still going.
Yeah.
I still have my design business. I still have all, we'll still design anything you need and print, and we still have that side of the business. And I think a lot of people need to start thinking about that, and just find your other niches.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the articles I was seeing that day was, what are influencers going to do? How is this going to happen? And of course, if you're being paid from a brand to do that, brands also have to, or companies also have to understand, like, this, nobody owns this. I think we need to bring someone in that can really dig into the actual medical issues that we're going through. I think that will be an interesting podcast as well. We're done for this one.
Yep.
I think that's it. Colin, start switching off everything, man. We're done.
Gee,
Again,
no pressure.
You guys keep following. Don't forget to leave some comments. And about this topic also, like, if you have anything or anybody or any example or any suggestion or anything that you might have that you can just comment below.
Yeah.
Let us know your 2 cents about this. I think it's important for us to bring it up because, like I said, there will be a follow-up podcast to this. So if we could grab as many comments as we can from you guys, that would be awesome. That would be cool. Do the usual stuff, share, comment, like, or whatever you want to do. If you don't like it, don't like it. It's up to you.
It's fine.
No pressure. So that's it. Thank you so much for being here, Anna.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Are you sure? And we'll catch you guys on the next one.